to live. Okay. गुड इवनिंग फ्रेंड, वेलकम टू अवर चैनल एग्जाम प्रो आईएएस इंग्लिश मीडियम। आप सभी का हमारे परिवार एग्जाम प्रो में स्वागत है। सो टुडे इन दिस सेशन वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस 22 अगस्त 2022 इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज। सो जल्दी सेशन को लाइक कर दीजिए, जल्दी सेशन को शेयर कर दीजिए। प्लीज डू लेट मी नो इफ माय वॉइस एंड वॉइस इज क्लियर। ठीक है, बताइए वॉइस क्लियर है? ओके, ठीक है। So let us start the session. And today is my science and tech class that is supposed to be scheduled at 8 p.m. So this class won't be happen. We will take it tomorrow. And we are having the disaster management class at 9:30 p.m. So kindly attend my disaster management class too. So let us begin. The first important news is India first indigenously developed hydrogen fuel cell bus. Okay, so India has indigenously का मतलब होता है without any external support, the technical supports जो होते हैं for the purpose of manufacturing, तो हम लोगों ने कहीं बाहर से नहीं लिया, rather we have developed the bus indigenously without any external support. So India जो है it has developed first indigenously developed HFC hydrogen fuel cell bus. So what is the why it was in the news? Recently the Union Ministry of State of Science and Technology launched India first hydrogen fuel cell. So first of all we should know what is hydrogen fuel cell. And apart from that, what is the advantages of launching hydrogen fuel cell? How it is bit different from the conventional cell? ठीक है ना? Apart from that, how it is helping towards achieving our Paris climate agreements? ठीक है ना? So all these things we have to correlate for the purpose of integrating the study, for the purpose of studying it from the perspective of prelims and from the studying it from the perspective of mains. हम कुछ भी चीज स्टडी करते हैं, whatever the things we are studying, it has two aspects. You have to think how you have to study for the prelims, and apart from that, you have to think how you have to study for the mains itself. So you can see that what are hydrogen fuel cells? A hydrogen fuel cell is an electrochemical device that converts hydrogen into electrical energy. So how you are going to define hydrogen fuel cell? So in the means hydrogen fuel cell is what? It is just like a normal fuel cell where hydrogen is being used, and apart from that, as an output, it is producing electrical energy. ठीक है ना? So the fuel cell that is the fuel cell in which hydrogen is being used for the purpose of producing electrical energy is called your hydrogen fuel cell. And apart from that, the only residue, the only pollutant, not pollutant, the only residue that is being emitted after the reaction is of water. So you can think यहाँ पे जो आपके emissions जो release होते हैं, that is only water vapor. ठीक है? Apart from that, hydrogen fuel cell can release more energy in comparison to the diesel fuel cell. So you can see that when you talk about impulse generator, suppose if you are driving car, we have often heard that when you are using CNG gases instead of your petrol, the impulse drops. That means the accelerating power जो होता है वो drop हो जाता है when we are shifting toward the CNG. But you can see in the cases of hydrogen fuel cell, if you talk about its energy, the energy means it is being utilized for the production of your impulse. ठीक है ना? For the production of torque. So you can see that in the case of your hydrogen fuel cell, it can produce more energy as compared to the conventional fuels. That means in comparison to diesel and fuel cells. Okay, so this is what hydrogen fuel cell works. Now we'll see what is the advantage? Why the government is shifting towards hydrogen fuel cell? What is the advantage of it? Okay? So you can see that they produce no tailpipe emission of gases and particulate matter, and only emit water vapor and warm air. So you can see that whenever we are utilizing petrol or diesel as a fuel, a lot of particulate matter in the form of PM 2.5 are being released. Apart from that, NOx, SOx are being released. Even if there is unburned carbon dioxide, so carbon monoxide is released. If it is properly burned, carbon dioxide is released. So when you are using petrol and diesel, the pollutants that are being released is NOx, SOx. If it is partially burnt, hydrogen carbon, then carbon monoxide and as well as carbon dioxide. All these things are being released. But when you compare it with the hydrogen fuel cell, there is no pollution. Not NOx, no SOx, no carbon dioxide, no carbon monoxide. Only thing that is being released your water vapor. And warm air. So you can see how good it is for the environment. Okay? Apart from that, it is more efficient than internal combustion engine vehicles. Hydrogen fuel electrical vehicles have an advantage over the battery powered. So even you can establish hydrogen fuel electrical vehicles. And now we have to see how hydrogen fuel electrical vehicles it is bit different from the electrical vehicles. So first of all is what? Hydrogen can be refilled in a fuel cell in a matter of minutes. So it takes around 3 to 4 minutes. For the purpose of fueling hydrogen. But when it comes to electrical vehicles, it needs around 1 hour. 1 hour. Now key highlights. So we have to see. So you can see that hydrogen fuel cell buses have been developed by Council of Scientific and Industrial Research and KPIT, an Indian multinational corporation. The launch of this India's first truly indigenously developed hydrogen fuel cell buses is in tune with the National Hydrogen Energy Mission. So we have our National Hydrogen Mission, in which we are focusing toward the different form of hydrogen. Basically, we are focusing toward the production of green hydrogen, so that we can reduce pollutant level and we can achieve our Paris climate change agreement. Apart from that, we do have our nationally determined contributions. We can achieve it with the help of this. The fuel cell utilizes hydrogen and air to generate electricity to power the buses, and the only effluent is the only thing that is being exited. From the outlet. The only effluent from the bus is water, thus making it possibly the most environmental friendly mode of transportation. So presently, if you talk like, so we are having electrical vehicles too, but when you are comparing with the electrical vehicle, the hydrogen fuel cell is more efficient. Apart from that, the only effluent, the only pollutant that is being released is water. Water is not a pollutant. Not a pollutant. Is that okay? So now we have to little bit see what is your national hydrogen. We have to see what is the National Hydrogen Energy Mission. National Hydrogen Energy Mission. The Union budget of 2008 or 2021 and 22 announced a National Hydrogen Energy Mission to draw up a roadmap for using hydrogen as an energy source. So if you talk about this, it is talking about that how you can utilize hydrogen as an energy source, because hydrogen is quite available. When you talk about its ability, because we are producing green hydrogen by the process of electrolysis, in which the water is splitted so that we can get hydrogen. Now you can think that how much water is available on Earth, and out of that water we can split water to get hydrogen. That is why apart from that, it is more efficient, and it releases no pollutant. It releases water and warm air. The usage of hydrogen will not only help India in achieving its emissions goal under Paris Agreement, but will also reduce import dependency on fossil fuels. So if we are utilizing hydrogen as a fuel, so no effluent is being released, no pollutant is being released. That means we are oriented. This policy is oriented toward the Paris climate change. Apart from that, we have to import. We have to import fossil fuels for the purpose of producing energy. Generally, in India, we do not have anthracite coals. We are totally dependent upon the bituminous and subbituminous coal. And in the thermal power plant itself, we have to blend the coal. And how the coal blending is being done? The coal blending is being done with the help of anthracite coal. So we have to import anthracite coal from Australia. Okay, so if we are using hydrogen as a fuel, so we do not have to import fossil fuels. We can save our planet, so this is how we can save, this is how we can reduce our CAD, ठीक है ना, capital account deficit. So why is this innovation significant? Why is this innovation significant? You can see that first of all, this innovation is a part of Prime Minister hydrogen vision. Even the Prime Minister talked about the hydrogen vision, he has emphasized on the fact that if our country is moving towards the greener fuel, we can adopt hydrogen because it is more efficient. No pollutant are being released. It will form our nationally determined contribution. We can easily achieve our Paris Climatic Change Agreement. ठीक है ना, Paris Climatic Change Agreement. So it is in tune with the Prime Minister hydrogen vision. Apart from that, green hydrogen is an excellent clean energy vector that enables deeper decarbonization of difficult to abate emissions from the heavy commercial transportation sector, among the others. So if you talk about the green hydrogen, so green hydrogen already we have discussed, it is more efficient, even it is more efficient than diesel and petrol fuel. It has the capacity to produce impulse. And apart from that, when we talk about the pollutant, it releases no pollutant, it only releases water and your warm air. एक एग्जांपल यहाँ पे बताया गया है, just to a single diesel bus, we are talking about the diesel bus, ठीक है ना, a single diesel bus plying on long distance routes typically emits 100 tons of carbon dioxide annually. So when you consider a single bus, it is more or less emitting 100 tons of carbon dioxide annually, 100 tons. And there are over 1 million of such buses. कितना 10 lakh buses, आप देख सकते हैं how much carbon dioxide is being emitted. About 12 to 14% carbon dioxide emission and particulate emissions come from the diesel powered heavy commercial buses. So you can think that if one diesel bus is generating 1,000 tons, if one bus is generating 100 tons of carbon dioxide annually, and on road about millions of buses are being continuously flying, so you can think that on an overall contribution, 12 to 14% of the emissions of carbon dioxide is being contributed by your diesel buses. Fuel cell vehicles give zero greenhouse gas emission. What is the advantage of utilizing fuel cell vehicles? Apart from that, hydrogen cell vehicles, it do not emit any sort of gases. Okay. Apart from that, when we will shift ourselves toward the hydrogen fuel cell, then what will happen? Transition from being a net importer of fossil fuels, fossil energy. I have already stated in the beginning that we do not have anthracite coal. Generally, there are 4 different types of coal: anthracite, bituminous, subbituminous, lignite, peat. The worst quality is peat and the best quality is your anthracite. But the thing is, we do not have anthracite coal. That is why we are importing anthracite coal from outside, from Australia, for the purpose of blending the bituminous and subbituminous coal for the purpose of increasing its efficiency. So ultimately, we have to import this type of coal from outside. So if we are having our own hydrogen fuel cell, we do not have to import such type of fossil fuels. India can become a global leadership in hydrogen space. How it is possible? Tell me how it is feasible. India can become a global leadership in hydrogen space. बताइए. Now we have indigenously developed buses that can run on hydrogen fuel cells. So we know that surrounding our countries, there are a lot of countries, they do not have such technology for the development of hydrogen fuel cell buses. So if we can develop it, either we can transfer the technology, or we can set up the plant in other areas, just like Nepal हो गया, Sri Lanka हो गया, ठीक है ना, Bangladesh हो गया, Myanmar हो गया. We can either set up the technology over there, or we can sell our buses over there. So ultimately, it is going to earn a good revenue. Apart from that, India can become a global leadership in your hydrogen spaces. Okay? So now we will see what is green hydrogen, because when you talk about hydrogen, green hydrogen is much important. More emphasis is being given on green hydrogen, and apart from that, it is also important from the perspective of prelims itself. So when you talk about green hydrogen, it is being produced by the process of electrolysis. In the process of electrolysis, water is being splitted into hydrogen and gases, hydrogen and oxygen, and that this particular hydrogen it is being utilized as a source of energy. So when water is being splitted by the process of electrolysis, the hydrogen that is being generated is called green hydrogen. The hydrogen that is being generated is called green hydrogen. The fuel is considered a game changer. The fuel is considered a game changer for the energy security of India, which imports 85% of the oil and 53% of the gas requirement. In February 2022, the Ministry of Power has notified green hydrogen, green ammonia policy for the production of green hydrogen or green ammonia using renewable sources of energy. So you can see that even for the purpose of electrolysis, you need energy. Even for the purpose of electrolysis, suppose this is the electrolytic cell, and in that water is there. So now, how the hydrogen will get produced? You have to perform the electrolysis process. For the purpose of electrolysis, you need energy. Now this type of energy जो होता है, जहाँ पे हम renewable sources of energy का ही इस्तेमाल करेंगे ताकि हम लोग water को split कर सके, so that hydrogen will get produced. So this was your first session. Benefits क्या है? You are quite aware what is the benefits. First, clean source of energy. Why? Because affluent में देखेंगे only affluent में जो है only water is being released. Only water is being released. ठीक है. Second, it can decarbonize the range of sector, including iron and steel, chemicals and transportation. So the same hydrogen fuel cell, it has the potential to be utilized in iron and steel industry, chemicals and transportation, because already I have told you it is highly efficient when it is compared to the diesel fuel, and petrol fuel. Potential to transform transportation as a direct replacement of fossil fuels. Channelizing the renewable energy that cannot be stored or used by the grid can be channelized to produce hydrogen. Suppose if a power plant is there, or if a power plant is there, like solar based power plant is there, wind based power plant is there, and you know the power that is being produced by the renewable source of energy, they are very much costly. That is why the DISCOM जो होता है, they are reluctant to buy the power. DISCOM are reluctant to buy the power from the renewable sources of energy because they are very much costly. Now you can see that when you talk about the national hydrogen policy, the power that is being produced by the renewable sources of energy can be utilized for the purpose of producing green hydrogen. So renewable energy sources को जो बच जाता है, that is not being fed to the grid, can be utilized for the purpose of your producing hydrogen. ठीक है? Is it okay? Is it okay? Hydrogen fuel cell electrical vehicles are better in comparison to battery electrical vehicles with a refueling time of just 5 minutes. So when you have your bike, scooty, whatever it is that employs hydrogen fuel cell, it will take just 5 minutes for the purpose of recharging, for the purpose of refueling with hydrogen, as compared to the 40 to 45 minutes for your electrical vehicles. ठीक है? This also has the potential to reduce India's demand of rare earth minerals that are used in the manufacturing of batteries for electrical vehicles. Apart, yes, definitely, when you have to generate electrical vehicles, a lot of rare minerals are being utilized for the purpose of manufacturing electrical vehicles. But this is not required in the cases of your hydrogen fuel electrical vehicles. Reducing India's capital account deficit. ठीक है ना? Sorry, that is your current account deficit. Current account deficit. Current account deficit. So reducing India current account deficit. India imports 85% of its oil, 53% of its gas demand. So this is the requirement of India. You have seen that 85% of the fossil fuels, 85% of the oil, ठीक है ना? Or you can see, you can also quote like 85% of the fossil fuels are being imported from outside, and 53% of its gas demand. Green hydrogen has the potential to reduce import dependency on the fossil fuels and the gas. So when we are able to generate electricity, with the help of green hydrogen, ultimately it has reduced the dependency on fossil fuels. Now we have to see what are the constants in utilizing this green energy. Because we are whenever we are discussing everything, all the dimensions should be covered, so that if it is important for prelims, you can carry on. If it is important for mains also, So what are the challenges associated with this? The first is your high cost. The technology used in production and use of hydrogen, like carbon capture storage and hydrogen fuel cell technology, are at nascent stage and expensive, which in turn increases the cost of production. So when you talk about the production of green energy, you know that for the production of green energy, electrolysis process is performed on water, and the water is split to produce hydrogen and oxygen. Apart from that, you have seen in the National Hydrogen Policy too that we have to utilize the renewable sources of energy. Definitely, when you suppose if normal power cost 5 rupees per unit, or the normal power cost around 1.5 rupees per unit, 1.5 rupees per unit. But when you talk about the power that is being generated by the solar-based power plant, it is costing around 8 rupees. So you can think that nobody is preferring to utilize solar-based energy. But in the National Hydrogen Policy, it has been clearly mentioned that we are producing green hydrogen that can produce electricity, and green hydrogen which affluent do not produce any type of pollutant. So even for the production of green energy, renewable sources of energy should be utilized. So you can see that the renewable sources of energy are being utilized, the cost of production of green hydrogen will increase. Apart from that, this particular technology is in nascent stage. It's a nascent stage, so definitely nascent stage mein definitely cost will be more. High R&D requirement. The commercial uses of hydrogen as a fuel in industry requires mammoth investment in R&D. Multiple regulatory authorities. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways regulates vehicle fuel carrier specification. Ministry of Renewable Energy regulates renewable energy sources and petroleum explosive safety organization regulates explosive substance storage and fuel storage. So ultimately, lots of organizations are being, lots of regulatory authorities are being there. So ultimately, it is also forming like a rate tapeism mechanism. So this was your first news. If any doubt, please do let me know. We are going to start another news regarding CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. What is in the news? बताइए. Where are our students? बताइए. ठीक है. Okay. So what is in the news? Why we are discussing China-Pakistan Economic Corridor? बताइए. So let us see. Just a moment. Okay. So you can see that the context. Recently, China gave note to Pakistan's decision to scrap China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority amid reports of growing rift between all-weather friends over the slow paces of USD 60 billion project. So you can see that it is there in the news because China has given the permission. To Pakistan that it can scrap China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority. You must know that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority was being developed so that it can do the surveillance of the project, so that it can smoothen the project. But because of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority, there was a lot of rifts, a lot of conflict was there, and because of that, China has allowed Pakistan that it can escape China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority. Now, this was only in the news. Now we have to see what is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Apart from that, about what are its impact upon India? So you can see that. First of all, we have to see what is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority. China Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority was established through an ordinance in 2019. It was aimed at accelerating the pace of China Pakistan Economic Corridor related activities, finding new drivers of growth, unlocking the potential of interlinked production networks, global value chains through the regional and global connectivity. So you have seen that China Pakistan Economic Corridor was established through an ordinance of 2019. Apart from that, when we look for its activities, the most important activities is your China Pakistan Economic Corridor related activities, just like it has just like finding new drivers of growth, unlocking the potential of interlinked production networks and global value chains. How China Pakistan Economic Corridor can be utilized for global value chains. ठीक है ना, डायग्राम को थ्रू देखेंगे हम लोग. So now we have to see what is China Pakistan Economic Corridor. You have seen that China it has given permission to Pakistan so that it can scrap China Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority. This was only in the news. Now we have to see what is China Pakistan Economic Corridor. What is China Pakistan Economic Corridor? China Pakistan Economic Corridor, you can see it in the diagram itself. China Pakistan Economic Corridor is a 3,000 kilometer long route of infrastructure project connecting China's northwest Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and the Gwadar port in the western province of Balochistan in Pakistan. So you can see that this is the project. This is the project ultimately. So it has started from the Xinjiang region and it passes through the Pakistan and ultimately it connects to the Gwadar port. ठीक है ना? Gwadar port. Okay. So this is what is China Pakistan Economic Corridor project. And one of the important issue you can see that it passes through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It passes through this region. It passes through this particular region. So this particular region is what when we talk about this particular region, so this particular region it is a Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Because of this, India is bit tense toward the China Pakistan Economic Corridor project. It has started from the Xinjiang province of China and passes through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It passes through the Pakistan. Ultimately it is connecting Gwadar port. ठीक है, of Balochistan region. ठीक है, okay. So basically when you talk about this project, this particularly project is being funded by China. This particularly project is being funded by China, and it is a part of the China ambitious project of Belt and Road Initiative, and Strings of Belt policy. This China has particularly initiated this project so that China जो है it can directly through Pakistan occupied Kashmir region, through Pakistan, and by the end of Balochistan region it can reach the Gwadar port, and from Gwadar port जो है it can directly connect to the Central Asia region. This is the main theme of China. ठीक है, okay. Now if you have seen that China Pakistan Economic Corridor is a part of Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative, launched in 2013, aims to link Southeast Asia, Central Asia, the Gulf region, Asia, Africa with the network of land and sea routes. So आप देख सकते हैं when you talk about the China Belt and Road Initiative, so it is connecting to your Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Gulf region, Africa and Europe with a network of land and sea routes. Now we have to see what is the India concern. India का concern क्या है regarding this China Pakistan Economic Corridor? What is the concern of India? ठीक है, what is the concern of India? Okay. Now, China Pakistan Economic Corridor passes through first of all, what is the concern? The concern is your China Pakistan Economic Corridor. It passes through your Pakistan occupied region. The first concern is that this particular China Pakistan Economic Corridor, it is passing through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir region. Pakistan occupied Kashmir region. ठीक है, Kashmir region. So China Pakistan economic corridor passes to the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Gilgit Baltistan, which is an Indian territory illicitly occupied Pakistan. So you have seen that no doubt we call it as your Pakistan occupied Kashmir region, but it is a part of the territory of India. And if China is developing the China Pakistan economic corridor without asking for India, that means it is challenging our sovereignty. ठीक है ना? Welcome Vasudev Padhare. And apart from that, when you talk about other region, you might have seen the cases of Hambantota port that was being developed in Sri Lanka. So China has provided easy loan to Sri Lanka for the development of Hambantota port, but when Sri Lanka, due to debt crisis, failed to repay the loan, now China has taken the Hambantota port on a lease for 99 years. Now what the China is doing, China जो है Hambantota port के पास they are shifting their submarines over there. So submarines वहाँ पे आ गए, that means what? श्रीलंका की बात करेंगे तो श्रीलंका deterrency has been gone. Now Sri Lanka has been indirectly under the control of China. So just think of it, if China-Pakistan economic corridor passes to the Pakistan occupied region, first of all, the China has not asked India regarding it. Apart from that, if it passes to the Pakistan occupied region, indirectly or directly, it is against the deterrency of India. It is against the sovereignty. It is against the sovereignty of India. The China-Pakistan economic corridor undermines India's strategic interest and territorial integrity. Because, ठीक है ना? More importantly, the China-Pakistan economic corridor, China will get access to the Western Indian Ocean through Gwadar port. है ना? तो ultimately क्या होगा? China will through your Xinjiang, apart from that Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Balochistan region, it will reach to the Gwadar port, and through the Gwadar port, it will get access to the Central Asia, complete Central Asia. अफ्रीका की बात कर लीजिए, अफ्रीका हॉर्न ऑफ अफ्रीका हो गया, आपका सेंट्रल एशिया हो गया, ठीक है ना? इट विल गेट जो चाइना जो है, इट कैन डायरेक्टली गेट कनेक्टेड टू दिस. This will help China in controlling maritime trade and would affect the freedom of navigation, trade, energy security from India. ठीक है ना? Now you can see that once China-Pakistan economic corridor becomes fully functional, China will be in a position to offer shorter and more economical trade routes, avoiding travel through the entire Western Hemisphere to most North and Latin America enterprises. So आपको पता होगा, when this China-Pakistan economic corridor will become properly functional, तो क्या होगा? चाइना जो है अपने सस्ते माल जो है through Gwadar port, it can directly sell it to the Africa region and to the Central Asia region. ठीक है, Central Asia region. अब इसके कारण क्या होगा? इसके कारण एक और जो सबसे बड़ी समस्या आने वाली है वो है आपका, this will give China the power to dictate the terms by which the international movement of goods will take place between the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. So China के पास पूरा कमांड हो जाएगा. Now it will start dictating. Apart from that, it is if you have seen that China-Pakistan economic corridor, it's a part of Belt and Road Initiative, but it is also a component of a string of peers policy that is being established by China. अब ये string of peers policy क्या है देख सकते हैं. In China has been increasing its presence in the Indian Ocean with the string of peers ambition, a term coined by America and often used by Indian defense analysts to refer Chinese game plan of encircling India through network of airfield and ports. So when you talk about the string of peers policy basically जो है what does it mean? China जो it want to cover India, it want to encircle India by establishing different ports so that it can completely encircle India. ठीक है? And if the India is encircled, तो आप देख सकते हैं बहुत बड़ी समस्या उत्पन्न हो जाएगी. You can see that within the string of peers policy आप देख सकते हैं it has developed different ports. It has developed Hambantota port over there. ठीक है ना? यहाँ पे म्यांमार में यहाँ पे पोर्ट्स का डेवलपमेंट किया गया है. ठीक है, यहाँ पे कंबोडिया में पोर्ट्स का डेवलपमेंट किया गया, मालदीव में पोर्ट्स का डेवलपमेंट किया गया, गवादार पोर्ट्स हो गया. ठीक है ना? यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं पोर्ट सुदान का डेवलपमेंट हो गया. इट इज एनसर्कलिंग इंडिया बाय द स्ट्रिंग ऑफ पेयर्स पॉलिसी. ठीक है, a stronger Belt and Road Initiative and China's dominance in the trade leadership. China Belt and Road Initiative project that focuses on the trade connectivity between China and the rest of the Eurasia through a network of ports, roads, railways have been seen as China plan to dominate the region politically. आप देखेंगे through Belt and Road Initiative and through a string of peers policy, the main theme of the China is to dominate over this particular region. ठीक है. So This was in the news. Okay, now another topic we have to discuss is your related to science and tech, supercharged biotech rise. Supercharged biotech rise. बताइए, is it clear, वासुदेव? Is it okay? So the other topic is your supercharged biotech rise. Supercharged biotech rise. Is it clear to everybody? If any doubt, please do let me know. बताएं. चलिए, let us see. Now, this is the experimental project. You can see that recently the scientists from the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Science have shown how a transcriptional regulator, listen to my words, how a transcriptional regulator can boost grain yields and shorten the growth of duration of rice. The supercharged biotech rice yields 40% more. So you might be knowing that we are having genetically modified crops too, but this is when you talk about the supercharged rice, it is not a genetically modified one. It is not a genetically modified one. Its name is a supercharged because we have done some alteration in the transcriptional regulator, because of which the yield has increased by 40%. Because of which the yield has increased by 40%. ठीक है ना? तो this is called supercharged biotech rice. Supercharged biotech rice. So first of all, we should know what is supercharged biotech rice. Apart from that, how it is being different from the genetically modified rice. So supercharged rice. The report has pointed out that giving a Chinese rice variety a second copy. Remember, a second copy of one of its own gene has boosted its yield by 40%. When a second, now what is the second copy? When a second copy of a single gene called OSDREB1C is added to rice, it improves photosynthesis and nitrogen usage. So you can see that first of all, you might be knowing what is transcription and translation. So particularly, this is the cell, this is your cell, and inside the cell, this is the nucleus. Nucleus के अंदर क्या पाए जाते हैं? Chromosomes are being found. Nucleus के अंदर में जो chromosomes are being found, and inside the chromosomes, what is there? DNA it is there. DNA it is there. So this is your particular DNA strand. This is your particular DNA strand, and this is your nitrogen base. Okay, nitrogen base. That means genetic information are there in the DNA strand. So particular type of enzyme that is being found is your RNA polymerase. RNA polymerase enzyme is being found. RNA polymerase enzyme is found. Now, what is the purpose of this enzyme? The purpose of this enzyme is basically to copy all the genetic information. From this is your messenger RNA. ठीक है ना? The purpose of RNA polymerase is to copy all the genetic information from the DNA strand and copy it into the messenger RNA. This process is called transcription. So now what is transcription? Transcription is a process by which the genetic information from the DNA strand is being copied and pasted into the messenger RNA. So this is called transcription. After that what happens? This messenger RNA comes from the nucleopores and moves into the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, it moves near the ribosome. So ribosome की बात करें तो ribosome, it is known as the site for protein synthesis. It is responsible for making the protein out of the genetic information. ठीक है ना? Okay. Now what is the transcription regulator? You have seen that, suppose we talk about this particular gene. We talk about this particular gene. Now with the help of transcriptional regulator, with the help of transcriptional regulator, the same gene, it is being modified. The same gene is being modified. It is being regulated. Are you getting my point? When you talk about the BT cotton, in the BT cotton, जो है, external gene जो होता है, it is being utilized, and that particular gene is being taken from the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria. But when you talk about the supercharged, right, this is the process of transcription in which the genetic information are being copied from the DNA and it is being pasted into the RNA, messenger RNA, and this particular messenger RNA will move closer to the ribosome. The ribosome is responsible for converting the genetic information to the protein itself. Now, when you talk about this particular gene is basically responsible for productivity of the crop. With the help of transcriptional regulator, you regulate this gene in such a fashion that it can increase the yield. So you have not added any external sources of gene over there. Okay, that is why it is written. And what is the name of the gene that is being regulated with the help of transcriptional regulator? The second copy of a single gene called OSDREB1C is added to the rice. It improves what? First of all, it improves photosynthesis. If photosynthesis will increase, definitely the crop productivity will increase. And apart from that, nitrogen is used. That means two things. When the second copy of the gene is being added to the rice, it enhances photosynthesis apart from the nitrogen use. That means if more nitrogen is being utilized by the plant, what will happen? The productivity of the crop will increase. The change helps the plant absorb more fertilizer because of increase in the photosynthesis and an increase in your nitrogen use. It absorbs more fertilizers, boosts photosynthesis, and accelerates flowering, all of which could contribute to larger harvest. The researcher added the same native gene again. The same gene after it is being regulated with the help of transcriptional regulator. After the same gene is being added to the rice plant, because of which the photosynthesis and nitrogen use increases, and hence the productivity increases. So the researcher added the same native gene again and not any foreign one, as in the case of BT cotton. So I have already explained it that the same gene, when you talk about the gene in the transcription phase, the gene that are being attached to the mRNA, the gene is being regulated with the help of transcriptional factor. The gene is being added with the help of transcriptional factor. When you talk about the BT cotton, external gene is being added. External gene is being added from the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria. This is the difference. This method is best described with genetic modulation. So this process, when you talk about the supercharged rice, we cannot consider it as a genetic manipulation. Rather it is called, we cannot consider it as a genetic engineering. We call it as genetic modulation. Now what is genetic modulation? Genetic modulation refers to the process of temporarily altering gene expression level without making heritable changes to the underlying cellular DNA. Because see, remember what? This is called genetic modulation. Modulation. ठीक है ना, इसको हम genetic modulation. No doubt genetic modulation की भी अगर हम बात करते हैं, so it also comes under the genetic engineering. But there's a difference. In the what? Suppose if you make changes in the DNA, listen to me, if you make changes in the DNA, so that is a permanent change. But you have not made the changes in the DNA. Rather, you have made changes in the messenger RNA genes. By the process using transcriptional regulator. So it's a temporary process. Okay? It is not a genetic modification. And neither is the result of transgenic plant carrying elements from another. Are you getting a point? So when you talk about the supercharged rice, no doubt it comes under the genetic engineering, but the process is called gene modulation. Gene are being modulated. Genes जो है it is being temporarily changed because the alteration that you have carried on, it's in the messenger RNA genes. With the help of transcriptional regulator, you have not carried the alteration in the DNA. ठीक है? And apart from that, ये genetic modifications में इसलिए नहीं आता because when we talk about the Bt cotton transgenic gene, मतलब outside gene from the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria is being added. But when you talk about here, a single native gene is being modified by the process of your transcriptional regulator. ठीक है? So this was all about the news. Any doubt, friends? Please do let me know. If there is any doubt, please do let me know. Vasudev Padhare, are you preparing for UPSC? Are you preparing for UPSC? चलिए, so thank you a lot.